Five-0, to this day, people just tell me about it, certain people. I played a guy named Big Chicken. You know, I fly over to Hawaii. I'm so excited. I fly, and I love this character. It was called, and they painted Daisies on his coffin. And this guy would get kids hooked on drugs, so they would steal for him, and he would get money that way. Terrible person, and delicious to play.
Sir, Mr. McGarrett, you've got company waiting.
You want big chicken, Mr. McGarrett? Well, here I am.
You son of a...
Howdy folks, and welcome to the Spaghetti Theater for the Spaghetti Theater Review. This time I'm going to take a look at an episode of the original Hawaii Five-0, starring the great Jack Lord. Since I could never get into this shit, well, this is not Steve McGarrett. This is Steve McGarrett. And this is the 70s. Without Jack Lord, and without it being the 1970s, Hawaii Five-0 doesn't work for me. Jack Lord's hairdo alone is 10 times better than 15 seconds of this knockoff. Just look at it. It's perfect, and even shaped like the opening title's iconic wave. Now, the original Hawaii Five-0 ran for 12 seasons, and had hundreds of episodes, so there were plenty to choose from. But besides the occasional Whoa Fat episodes, where Steve McGarrett would face off with his version of Murdoch from MacGyver, even though this came out first, the next episode that always comes to mind was the Big Chicken episode, which there were 2 of in the first season. And then sadly he was never seen again. But hey, he was a slime ball. And boy did he leave an impression. It was all due to the performance of the actor playing him, because yeah, Big Chicken is a guy, not an actual big chicken like on Family Guy. And that actor was none other than Captain Merrill Steubing himself. Gavin MacLeod, everybody. This was even before he played Murray Slaughter on the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Well, Murray, you ought to try. Uncle Potato got a higher rating than Big Chicken, and Mr. Phelps fired him.
Well, here I am.
But after he was on McHale's Navy, he really got around this guy, he did. But anyway, his first of 2 appearances was on an episode entitled ... and they painted daisies on his coffin. Yeah, what a happy title, right? A far out hippie funeral, I guess. Hawaii Five-0 did have some interesting titles. And even though he was short-lived and a total piece of shit as far as characters go, it was so well played by Gavin MacLeod that you just love it. Even though, yeah, Big Chicken is a total scumbag. Lowlife, degenerate pig, you name it. It's hard to believe that he went on to become Captain Merrill Steubing, the total opposite of this pile of dog shit. But it always makes me laugh every time I see it.
Just say, I want to talk to Big Chicken, and you got it, Mr. McGarrett.
Steubing wasn't perfect. He was a recovering alcoholic who captained a cruise ship. So there's that. But he's Jesus compared to Big Chicken. So this is it. ... and they painted daisies on his coffin. As we jump right into the Hawaii Five-0, action, 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 as Dano, off duty and in his street clothes, chases this kid through the streets one night. And that kid actually takes a shot at Dano. Pop! Hits a wall, just like his life did. You all saw it, folks, as in viewers at home, which is useless to Dano in a court of law. So he keeps chasing this kid, all the way to his Fleabag apartment, where he locks himself inside. So Dano shoots the lock off and forces his way in. Only, he accidentally shot that kid, and now he's on the ground dying and crawling across the floor. Oops. As this chick rooming with him hides in the corner out of Dano's view, and in a state of panic picks up that gun that he used to take a shot at Dano and runs the hell out of it. So now Dano's alone with this dead kid on the floor. And just like that, Dano has gotten himself into a real pickle, folks. Hit one of the best opening title sequences ever. It's Hawaii Five-0 time. Ba-ba-bum-bum-bum. In Hawaii with the ocean. And this chick. And lady's ass. And who's that guy in the balcony? Well, it's Jack Lord, the star of the friggin' show, head of the 5-0 unit. He's pretty much the show itself. Hairdo and all, just chilling out in the top floor of this hotel, I guess. Then there's his blue-eyed buddy and partner Dan, played by the formerly Disney-owned James McGarrett. And of course, Chin-Ho Kelly and Kono too, along for the ride. Hawaii 5-0! So back to that dead kid in the apartment with Dan, as Steve McGarrett arrives to save the friggin' day. Only Daniel's pretty much out of it because this is the first time he's actually killed someone.
First time for him, Steve? Yeah.
It's only the 5th episode of the first season after all. You got a lot of killings ahead of you, Dano.
First time.
So McGarrett checks out this Fleabag apartment and finds evidence of a roommate,
2 toothbrushes, lady's hairbrush. Make a note, huh?
drug use,
What?
theft,
1 hot carburetor. I can just hear him. I'll keep this on ice.
and the knowledge of what a quality surfboard looks like.
Well, he knew a good board.
Probably hot.
It's Hawaii. Everyone owns some kind of surfboard. I guess. Shaka bra. So he has Dano give his statement to this guy, so they can get the story out of him fresh and on the scene, where Dano recounts everything that we, the audience, already saw him do. So we know he's not lying, which means we, the audience, are Dano's only witnesses. So, uh-oh for Dano, it's already not looking good. And it only gets worse when the cop taking his statement informs them that they never found that dead kid's gun, the one he used to take that shot at Dano with.
The gun that Danny says the boy had, we can't find it.
Because yeah, that crack whore took it and bailed. Only Dano didn't see any of that shit. From his point of view, that dead kid was the apartment's only occupant. So Dano's fucked. So cut to later, outside the Fleabag apartment, where Dano swears to McGarrett up and down that that dead kid did have a gun and did take a shot at him. He swears it. Dano's no liar.
He had a gun. He fired at me. I saw it.
We've known him for 4 episodes, almost 5 now. Only he's not sure how the hell the gun vanished.
That gun just didn't get up and walk away.
Only we, the audience, know. That's when McGarrett goes on one of his classic Jack Webbish rants about the system being a strict, unforgivable pile of dog shit.
When a cop pulls his gun, he better remember every single detail. There's always trouble when you pull a gun, more if you fire it. You hit somebody and you're up to your hip pockets in it. And if a cop kills somebody, every single fact bit of jive or he gets nailed to the wall. He's guilty until he proves himself innocent. Now that's backwards, ugly, and unfair, but that's the way it is.
So you better remember every fucking detail of that shooting, Dano, or your ass is jailbait. So they do the obvious thing and retrace Dano's steps all the way back to the Fleabag apartment, where Dano is still at a loss.
Steve, if anybody had been in here, I would have seen it. It's a small apartment. Look at it.
But not die-hard McGarrett. He's already got this part all figured out.
And who was smoking the pot? The butt was fresh.
When he finds enough evidence to suggest that the dead kid also had a young blonde crack whore as a roommate.
Pair of size 5 beach shoes right over there. That leaves us with one small blonde woman.
And he's not wrong, as we, the audience, know. So he shows Dano exactly how this crack whore managed to elude his normally on-the-ball ass without being spotted.
You didn't see me or hear me. Might have been that way. Must have been that way.
So cut to that crack whore, and let's see what she's up to. And she's not doing too well. Really itching for her next fix. While trying to get over the death of her boyfriend, who she saw get killed right in front of her. So cut to the next morning, at that wall where the bullet from that kid's gun went, as McGarrett has it pulled up. Only there were no witnesses, and there's still no actual gun yet to match with it, so it's pretty useless at this point. They need that friggin' gun. So cut to the introduction to TV's greatest scumbag, Big Chicken, everybody, at his late 60s Hawaii apartment, where the crack horse shows up to tell him the tale, and get her next fix, of course.
Snowman is here. You got the money?
Only she has no money, so Big Chicken is forced to turn her down.
Everybody has to pay, Annie. I wish it was free.
Chicken Betty's dead. Please, I'm tired.
That's his name. Big Chicken. Local shit stain on society's ass. Lowlife. Well, unless you count the fact that he cried for that poor dead kid.
I cried when I heard.
Yeah, right. I believe that, Big Chicken. Since his only concern for her now is that she go out and find another poor sap to steal for her.
Now I still need merchandise, and you still need that juice for your needle. And that all adds up to another boy.
And boy, Big Chicken, maybe get an air conditioner if you're gonna sweat like that. Only don't worry, crack whore, because Big Chicken then decides that because he's such a nice guy,
I'll see that you get what you need on credit till you find a new boy.
that he's gonna keep her supplied with drugs until she finds another dumb boy to do her stealing for her. Wow, lady, you have some issues, I see.
Peace.
So yeah, peace out, crack whore, and cut to 5-0 headquarters, where McGarrett and Dano catch this jump to judge guy's editorial.
King McGarrett's special force that we call 5-0.
On how Dano should be arrested and locked up, since, from everyone else's point of view, Dano is an off-duty cop who had just had 2 drinks at a local bar before he spotted some kid trying to break into a car. A kid that he chased and then shot dead, who then also turned out to be unarmed.
What do you think would happen to you if you shot an 18-year-old boy? If you had been drinking before you shot him? I'll tell you what would happen. You would be sitting in a cell at police headquarters, and you'd be charged with murder.
Which, of course, we the audience know is a bunch of shit. But to be fair, it does look bad. And this guy is sorta right, from their point of view. He's just a tad extreme about it.
But I know how I feel. I am mad. I am angry. I am burning.
So McGarrett suggests that Dano go find that crack whore already,
Maybe you'd like to tell me why you're not out looking for that girl, huh?
so we can end this shit. That's when Dano points out that this 5-0 shit can really suck sometimes.
It's a stinking job.
Which sends McGarrett on another classic rant.
Who told you it was anything else? You think the next one will be easier than this one? God help you if you do. It better hurt every time. It better tear your guts out every time you pull that gun. You learn to live with it, but don't get used to it. Now get out of here and find that girl.
Classic cliche shit right there, folks. You never get used to it, kid. It reminds me of the end of that movie The Hard Way, with James Woods and Michael J. Fox. You only get one take, kid, and it lasts you for the rest of your life.
We live this job. It's something we are, not something we do. Every time a cop walks up to a car, he knows he may have to kill someone or be killed himself. And you get 17 takes to get it right. We get one take. It lasts our whole lives. We mess it up, and we're dead.
Fuck, was that great? Could you just do that one more time for me, please?
So McGarrett has Kono and Chin Ho hit the streets and see if they can find any witnesses,
I want at least 2 witnesses who saw that boy fire at Danny.
or the identity of that crack whore. Which they do, and have no luck with this chick or this guy. So boom, Dano is indicted.
The grand jury delivered a presentment to the prosecutor.
And they indicted Danny.
Murder, first degree.
Way to go, Kono and Chin Ho. Murder first degree. So he turns himself, his gun, and all his shit in. Is booked, not by Dano, and then he's tossed into jail. Then cut to angry McGarrett vision, folks, as he busts into the Attorney General's office, all hot and bothered by Dano being indicted. Now who's he gonna say book him to? Kono? Book him Kono? Nah, doesn't sound right.
And he should have been indicted.
He was drunk. He had 2 beers. Danny said there was a gun, but there is no gun.
Dano was an off-duty cop with 2 drinks in him who shot an unarmed kid dead. No witnesses or anything, not even a gun.
The one witness you found said the boy had no gun. He didn't see the gun. Then there was no gun.
So he's not wrong either. Dano should have been indicted. McGarrett's just upset. Since Dano is his buddy, and he just knows there has to be a gun out there somewhere.
You know he's not guilty. I know he's not guilty. There's only one person who can do anything about it. You.
It's up to you now, McGarrett, with your fancy blue suit and perfect hairdo, to go find that gun, so you can link it to that bullet, and hopefully, in turn, lead them to that crack whore who took it in the first place. So then snap, Kono reports in with some helpful updates. First, that mystery kid that Dano killed, he was a runaway named Thad Vaughn.
Thad Vaughn.
Yeah, Thad. Like that guy at the end of Gunsmoke. Always thought that was a dumb sounding name. Thad. Is it short for Thaddeus? Even that sounds better. In my opinion, of course. Sorry, Thad. I'm sure you were a great guy. And I bet they'll even paint daisies on your coffin. Snap again.
Is the dead boy a junkie? Clean like nobody's business.
Only Thad was no junkie, so that roach wasn't even his. It was the crack horse, cause yeah, she was smoking a lot more than weed. This is what leads to Kono's next big discovery. They also found Big Chicken's fingerprints in that very same flea bag apartment.
Big Chicken. They found 2 sets of his prints in a kid's pad.
So it's now verified to them that Big Chicken is involved in this mess. Someone of whom which they are very familiar with, of course.
Get a statewide pickup out on him right away.
A piece of garbage like this has a record a mile long. It's a miracle he's even out walking the streets while Dano is locked up in jail. Something of which I'm sure McGarrett could go on an hour rant on.
It better hurt every time. It better tear your guts out.
But we don't have time for that. Sorry, McGarrett. Save it. So cut to McGarrett as he goes to this strip club, trying to locate the infamous Big Chicken. Shouldn't be too hard. Just follow the trail of sweat, McGarrett. So he pops in on this lady, who's suddenly shy about being exposed in front of random people, and isn't much help.
Hey! You could knock or something!
But now that she's seen the great Steve McGarrett, invites him back to catch one of her shows.
Say, baby, why don't you catch my act some night?
I can just imagine that extravaganza. Only McGarrett's shy and embarrassed now.
Sure.
You'll never see him again, lady. He eats, breathes, and shits 5-0. He doesn't have time for women. He's the Nikolai Tesla of 5-0.
Sure.
Seriously, folks, I've seen every episode of this show. And not once was Steve McGarrett shown having a life outside of his job. No woman, no kids, no real hobbies, because he just didn't. They never even showed where he lived for the most part, since he was always at 5-0 headquarters. I just assumed he always slept under his desk. This is something else the new Hawaii 5-0 doesn't have. A dedicated as fucking hell to 5-0 Steve McGarrett. None of this having a life shit. So anyway, some more good news from Kono. You're doing good today, Kono. That gun finally turned up.
We just found the gun.
So they take it to the lab and test it up against that bullet that they dug out of the wall. And boom! It's a perfect match.
No question. Same gun.
But that's still not good enough. They still need to find that crack whore who took it from the crime scene in the first place. So they go to the dipshit who gave the gun to the guy that they got it from. Another lowlife. This guy named Tommy.
Ned got the gun from a big Hawaiian kid named Tommy.
It's become the tale of the traveling gun now, folks. And this guy's a real shithead too. And instead of telling the police who he bought the gun from, starts a fight with McGarrett and goes after him with a tire iron. So a fight ensues, and McGarrett and Kono win, of course. And after threatening him with years of prison time for coming after him with that tire iron, he tells McGarrett what he wants to know.
I bought the gun. $3 from a blonde chick. Said her name was Ann.
He bought that gun from a crack whore named Ann, who he describes as
Kinda skinny. Not much stuff, dig?
Not much stuff? Yeah, Tommy, you're every woman's dream. So McGarrett asks this idiot if he's seen Big Chicken by any chance, which he hasn't. So book him, Oh, yeah, book him, Kono, I guess. Okay, boss. So cut to 5-0 headquarters, where McGarrett comes in and is informed that he has a visitor. And who could it be, you wonder? Why, it's Big Chicken himself, in his white suit.
You want Big Chicken, Mr. McGarrett?
So call off the search, McGarrett. TV's greatest scumbag has been found.
Well, here I am.
And he did this on purpose, too.
The word is out you're looking for Big Chicken. Just say, I want to talk to Big Chicken. Just say it,
You got it, Mr. McGarrett.
As he goes right into a sweaty, sleazy explanation of how he's such a stand-up guy now.
You see, I always cooperate with the agencies of law enforcement.
Who, once hearing that 5-0 was looking for him, the great big chicken,
here I am, fast as a cab could bring me.
turned himself right in. Way to go, big chicken, you fat, sweaty, white suit wearing pile of trash. That's another thing about Gavin MacLeod. He was always a bit thick in the midsection, but you would never guess it just looking at his face. He hides it well. You see a hell of a lot more of Big Chicken's physique in his second appearance. However, I love this scene. It's where Gavin MacLeod really gets to shine as Big Chicken.
I'm looking for a girl.
Well, you don't need me to find girls for you, Mr. McGarrett. You do all right.
No, he doesn't.
Having spent some time in jail for my mistakes in the past, I am not allowed to associate with users.
Too bad they didn't give out awards for playing good villains. Or pieces of shit. Because this is an excellent performance. He really cranks up the sleaze here. He almost literally oozes the filth he represents. He's always pouring sweat, too. And I know it must be hot in Hawaii, but no one else is sweating like him. It just adds to the character. McGarrett then asks him about that junkie, aka the crack whore they're looking for, named Ann, which of course Big Chicken claims to not be involved with.
You know me, McGarrett. I'd never do something like that, McGarrett. I'm a big, fat, greasy idiot, but I would never do that.
Big Chicken's an upright citizen now.
Could that be the apartment where that young boy was killed?
Only I'm still not convinced, since your accent is that of a sleazeball.
Yeah, McGarrett. No matter what I say, I sound like a pig, don't I, McGarrett? I could quote the Bible and I'd sound like a pig. God said, let there be light, McGarrett, and there was light.
He's disgusting.
Yeah.
So then McGarrett tells him about how they found his fat, greasy, potato chip covered fingerprints all over that flea bag apartment that she was staying in, which he doesn't deny.
I was just gonna tell you that.
I bet you would.
Only hesitates on telling McGarrett where she is, since...
Now she may say bad things about me, you know?
Well, she could say unfavorable things about the honest Big Chicken, main pillar of decent society.
Like how I'm still selling narcotics when you and me both know I'm clean.
And to prove what a saint he's become now, Big Chicken tells McGarrett exactly where he can find Ann, the reluctant crack whore.
I'm gonna tell you.
Before someone has to paint daisies on her coffin after she ODs. Then Big Chicken goes on to McGarrett about how much he loves law enforcement.
I'm gonna tell you because the law is cruel.
Only he does it in that scumbag accent that he does so well again.
The law protects people from other people saying bad things.
Meaning, it's a bunch of shit.
Because I believe in the law.
And he's just fucking with McGarrett, and McGarrett knows it. So he lets Big Chicken know it.
I'm gonna nail you, chicken.
And once Steve McGarrett says he's gonna nail you, you might as well just report to prison. You hear that, whoa fat? It may take 12 years, but you're getting nailed. Only Big Chicken's confident that he's in the clear.
And I'll nail you.
Never, Mr. McGarrett. No chance you'll ever.
Since they lack the evidence to connect him to any of this. Yet.
No way.
So peace out, Big Chicken, you slimy piece of shit. For now. Before McGarrett nails you.
Peace.
And I said, I know what I'm going to do. Because in those days, peace symbols were around. I'm going to wear a peace symbol. Because after he does something terrible, he's going to say, peace, brother. Peace. Just hold it up like that.
So cut to this crack house, where Ann the crack whore is taking refuge, as McGarrett shows up to bring her dumb ass in, with Chin-Ho as backup. So the strung-out hippies living there hide Ann in this closet attic, as McGarrett presents his warrant to this chick and makes his way into this happy little home. So how about it, guys? Where's Ann McJunkington?
My mother's name was Ann.
And this guy responds with a poem about his dead mama.
Dead, mama is dead. She died in a bed.
Thanks, weirdo. Take 5, please. Then on to this chain-swinging badass wannabe, who McGarrett deals with the same way Charles Bronson might, with a quippy threat.
Unless you want to swallow that chain, you better sit down. Think.
Good one, McGarrett. Take a seat, Cheney McSwingy.
Buzz really bugged me.
That square bugs me. He really bugs me. So McGarrett says hell with this shit and just calls the desperate crack whore up. So they just give up and surrender to McGarrett's undefeatable, authoritative presence.
Annie, come on out, or he'll come in and get you.
And Anne the crack whore turns herself over to him. So cut to later at the hospital, where McGarrett asks Anne, since she is a human being after all, who, being young and naive, let herself get sucked into this crack whore lifestyle, does admit to being in that apartment when Dano showed up and shot Thad by accident, and she admits to taking off with the gun.
That means that you were in the room.
Yes.
And selling it for $3 for drug money to Tommy. $3 of drugs even back in 1968 couldn't have been that much. So now that it's come to this, Anne starts feeling guilty about how she used Thad to steal for her, so she could trade it to Big Chicken for drugs.
He loved me, and I didn't love him until he was dead. Then I loved him.
And even though she claims to have loved poor old Thad, still wants to find another gullible boy to steal for her.
I've got to have a boy to steal for me.
That's when McGarrett tries to get her to tell him about Big Chicken's involvement in all this. Only she won't at first, because now she's afraid that Big Chicken will cut off her drug supply if she does.
It is coming off. Shut down my supply.
And yeah, he would, because he would be in jail where he clearly belongs.
You'll never put me away, McGarrett. Never, McGarrett. Never. I'm the great Big Chicken, McGarrett. My big gut. What do you think of that, McGarrett?
McGarrett points out the foolishness of her life choices.
You like this life, Annie? Shoving a needle in your arm, waking up your stomach in knots.
Only she's such a hardcore addict doesn't want to quit.
I don't want to stop. The only good time is when I'm up.
Shit, Anne. You need some serious help, don't you? She even defends Big Chicken.
He gave Dad a surfboard.
So McGarrett points out that it's sort of his fault that any of this even happened in the first place.
You know who killed Thad, Annie? Big Chicken. He sank the hook in you, and he killed Thad.
So he technically killed the unfortunate Mr. Thaddeus. So yeah, I hope that fancy-ass Bodie quality surfboard was worth it.
Thad is dead. That board came high.
Surf people, always getting into crime to fund their surfer bum lifestyle. Not really a problem here in New England, USA. But boy, you're a mess, lady. So pow! Jump punch to McGarrett as he smashes Big Chicken right in the face for trying to bail on him in his own apartment. Because he's here to arrest Big Chicken. Yeah, Big Chicken, she said bad things, alright. Everyone does. You're Big Chicken. She said a lot of bad things about you and they were all true, I guarantee it. So Big Chicken offers up his apartment for searching.
You don't need no search warrant. You just go right ahead.
And swears you won't find one illegal thing in there. Except his bidet and box of Cuban cigars. So McGarrett goes into another rant.
You know, every once in a while we get one like you.
It's one of his things.
Wise. Very fancy dancer. Smart enough to use the law. You duck us for a long, long time, and then we get you.
Only this one means it's acquaintance for poor old Big Chicken.
You think you really got me? On what?
When he points out that they have that stolen carburetor that they found in Thad's apartment.
One hot carburetor.
A hot carburetor in the refrigerator at Thad's place. You ordered it stolen, and Ann will testify to that.
And with the testimony of the guy you were selling it to, and the testimony of Ann the crack whore, however reliable her testimony is.
Convicted on a junkie's testimony? Never happened.
You're going to jail for some time, Big Chicken.
Mr. Chauvin, you ring a bell? He also swore that he ordered it from you. Now that's 2 witnesses. That's plenty to prove that you were an accessory before the fact in a robbery. Ain't no big thing, brother, but it's enough to close that iron door on you forever when you've been down 3 times before. Now you've had it, chick.
So it's back to the coop for you. Snap.
Oh, crap.
So he makes another fat guy break for it. Only McGarrett stops him as he begs for a deal.
You owe me!
But too late, Big Chicken. Your feathers have been officially plucked. So book 'em, McGarrett, I guess. So cut to Dano as he's freed from prison. And all is well in the land of 5-0 again, as they rejoice in their ingenuity.
Glad that's over. What a day.
What a day indeed. We got to meet Big Chicken.
You'll see me again, McGarrett. At least one more time, McGarrett. You get to see the full Big Chicken this time, McGarrett. You haven't seen the last of Big Chicken, McGarrett.
You have. But yeah, what a day indeed, Dana. Almost like a day Jack Bauer would have. Every second had something going on. Every moment action-packed. So hit the credits that would later be spoofed by the Naked Gun. And that was it, folks. That was ... and they painted daisies on his coffin. The first appearance of Gavin MacLeod as the #1 dirtball, Big Chicken. Which leads me into my final thoughts on this memorable Hawaii Five-0 classic. All I really want to do is give praise to Gavin MacLeod for stealing the friggin' show from Jack Lord, who's usually awesome.
Well, here I am.
And as the shittiest character he's ever played, too. Besides some of the Nazis he played on Hogan's Heroes episodes, to go from this to Murray Slaughter and then Captain of the Love Boat. It's very good acting, in my opinion, of course. And even Gavin MacLeod himself said that this role followed him around forever. People would bring it up all the time to him. And in this interview he did, he tells this funny story about how his mother tried to deny that he ever played Big Chicken.
All the kids and my mom in some restaurant. And I see this couple looking over and said, Mr. MacLeod, I said, yes, we have to tell you, we loved you as Big Chicken. My mother said, that wasn't him. That wasn't him. She just didn't want them to see me playing parts like that.
You don't have to go look for Big Chicken, Garrett. Big Chicken will come to you.
Besides that, the actress who played Anne the crack whore did a lot of other stuff. I primarily would remember her as Nancy in the first 3 Tremors movies. But after Back to Perfection, even she was up. You take it from here, Michael Gross. And finally, there was this guy who played this sergeant.
I'll keep this on ice. Really took the good life, this boy.
He was in a lot of Hawaii Five-0 episodes as different characters. But I will always remember him as Sato in The Karate Kid Part 2. Forward! Hurts my throat to do that. Yeah, he was that guy. Another show-stealing performance. Way to go, Sato. And with that, I'll end my first look at an original Hawaii Five-0 episode. ... And they painted daisies on his coffin. How nice of them. They should have just called the episode Enter Big Chicken. Or just Big Chicken. But what do I know? As usual, a big thanks to all my subscribers and leavers of comments. It's always greatly appreciated. So adios for now, folks, and I'll see you at the theater.
When I like those assholes in the movies, they get 17 takes to get it right. We get one, and it lasts our whole life.
That's my line. That's what I said to him. Little son of a bitch stole my life.